Hello everyone, and welcome back to my workshop and for another computer build. Today we're going to look at the SAMA Z3 case. This case I found on Newegg. For right now it's going for $39.99 plus $8.99 shipping. The reason I chose this case is because, well, there's no reviews of it. And if you look on Google for it, for the SAMA Z3, look for images of it, you can't really find anything except, these coolers. And then there's one image there, which of course goes right back to Newegg. You do a regular search on it. Again, some Newegg images. And if you scroll down, you're not really seeing anything there. It's, Sony Xperia. You look for videos on it. There's nothing there. Well, hopefully that'll change after this video. But, there's nothing on this case. So it's kind of hard to get a feel for what people have done with it or what this case is all about. And as you can see here, this one, I have RGB'd the shit out of it. You can see I'm running 7 fans in there, strips and all that, but we'll get to that in a bit. But first, let's talk a little bit about SAMA. SAMA is one of those companies that, for the most part, they make really good products. The problem with them is they don't do much PR. For their products, and so maybe a lot of people haven't really heard of them. I think every SAMA I've ever worked with, I've just loved them. My favorite was like the SAMA Max Cool. That one, much like this one, and let's get into that a little bit. On the SAMA Max Cool, it was originally on like the specifications for it. It said 2 120s in the front. 2, I think it was like 120s on top and 1 in the back. And that was actually wrong. You actually could get 140s in there. And the SAMA's kind of the same thing. If we look at, okay, here, cooling system on this one. See where it says front 3 120s, top 2 120s, and rear 1 120. So that's, 6 total 120s. But if you look on mine, like I said, I've got 7 of them going on here. And in the front, that's actually a couple 140s that I got going on in there. So you can get 140 millimeter in the front, even though they don't say you can. And I don't know why they wouldn't do that, because if you look right below that, it says front up to 280 millimeter on the radiator. Now, you can get a 280 radiator in there, but one thing I guess I kind of noticed is, like you see on the back wall there where those 2 drives are mounted, they'll kind of stick out just a little bit there, and they might bump a little bit. I don't have a 280 to try right now. A 280 millimeter radiator to try right now to find out exactly, but it looks like it would kind of bump. But you shouldn't have any problem at all with, like a 240 or even a 360. You could probably more than likely get a 360 in there, I'm guessing, with that space that's in there. I was going to put 3 120s up front, and I decided, I think I'm just going to go out to 2 140s. It's a little bit quieter. On the bottom here, these are just screwed in, same type of screws that you'd use, like, to screw down your cooler. Same thing, I stole some off of a Cooler Master, or it was a Corsair, I don't remember what it was, but I stole some screws off it to screw those down. And let's take a look at the side here. You can notice that this is kind of a wide looking case. Now that's decent because, well, you see a lot of crap going on there. You see the cable mod extensions, and, you know, the RGB, which is, you know, is using a controller. And if I go to my, hold on here, images here, one second, let me open this up. I think I got it under here. We'll show you this first before I get to that. This is the bottom of it. See these two screws right there? One here and one up here. That's actually where the hard drive rack would mount, and I've got that out right here to show you. I pulled it out. I didn't need it, but you can see you can put one hard drive on the bottom part and then a 2.5 inch on top. You'll actually, if you plan on using this, you'll want to mount the 2.5 inch first. Otherwise, there's really no way to get to the screws in there. But it sets in there like this, right about here, and it screws on with those two little thumb screws right there that you see. And that's nice that that's removable. But anyways, yeah, there's plenty of room to work with in this case, and that's one thing that I like about SAMA. Most all SAMA cases that I've ever gotten, they're just really easy to work with, especially like when it comes to the cable management. Now, like I said, I got a lot of stuff going on here, and let's zoom in on this picture here a little bit, let you see the inside. I can actually get the back closed pretty easy on this. No problem at all. You know, I mean, I can almost do it with one hand. I didn't have to push down or nothing, and I like that. You see I got a little controller box going there for the RGB that you got going on in here. Excuse me, sorry. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a case that you can stuff a lot of things into, this is absolutely it. Another nice thing about this is got the little window there for the power supply that you can see, and as you can see, I took advantage of that, and I put an LED strip in there as well. That's kind of gives you an idea how big the gap is between where the power supply goes and where this little wall is there for the shroud. So there's a considerable gap right there. Well, I guess let's talk about the build a little bit. What this is a Asus Rampage 2 Gene board. Actually, it's kind of a variation of it. It's a CG5290 board. And what I have running in it right now is a Xeon processor. And in order to do that, I actually had to update the BIOS so that it would accept the Xeon. Now, you'll notice the BIOS here says version 1603. On the regular Rampage 2 Gene, it's 1701. I basically just flashed the Rampage 2 Gene BIOS onto the CG5290, which is basically the same motherboard. It just, the main differences, we'll call this up here on the screen so you can see this. Like down here, it's missing the reset button, the start button, the memory OK button. There's a couple, like right here, a couple fan headers missing. It's just kind of a stripped down version of the Rampage, and you can see on the side there it says Rampage 2 Gene CG5290. So it's basically the same board. So it supports, 6 memory slots. You can get, according to Asus, a maximum of 24 gigs. From what I understand from other people, they've actually ran 48 gigs in this. I've got 24 going on in this one. I thought about running 48, but then again, I was kind of thinking, hey, that would be kind of cool if I could get some higher capacity modules and even try to run 96 in here just for shits and giggles, just to see if it would do it. Just to see. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. Who knows? But, you know, for sure it'll run 24. Let me switch to my HDMI. Switch my keyboard out here. So like I said, it's running the X5675 Xeon in it with 24 gigs of RAM. Sweet, huh? And the main reason that I built this was actually to get rid of that X5675. I've actually had that for a few years. Actually, I have two of them. I got another one. Let me grab it real quick. Up there on the shelf. Here it is. And I wanted to do something with them. I got them out of my old Dell T610 server that I got for free a few years back. And what I was using that for was to CPU mine Bitcoin back in the day. And I used that with some GT 1030s that were passively cooled. And that was kind of a little moneymaker there for me. I mean, you know, I had other mining rigs as well, you know, some 1060 rigs, a couple 1070 rigs. But the, excuse me, CPU mining rig with the GT 1030s, that made me, I don't know, a couple $100 every month for quite a while until, you know, it all started to crash and then, you know, they're fucking useless. But anyways, so I had those chips left over and I didn't really want to get rid of them. You know, I mean, the board itself is kind of useless to me. I'll probably end up just selling that on eBay. But I wanted to do something with these Xeons that I had. And so I've actually got two builds coming up here with Xeons. One is this first one right here that you're seeing in the SAMA case. And the next one's going to be a build using like a Chinese motherboard, X58 motherboard. Not sure how that one's going to work out. We'll see. I've got some actually server memory for that one. I got 16 gigs of that. I'm just going to slap that one together. I'm not sure what case I want to use in it yet. I don't know. Maybe I'll go with something else that's never been reviewed before. I'm not sure. But that one will be coming up, oh, I don't know, probably about a week or so, maybe two. It depends on how fast that shit gets here. I've seen that it was in the States already, but as soon as my stuff gets here, I'll start on that one and get that one slapped together, hopefully. And but this one, you'll see a lot of RGB stuff going on there, and you might be wondering, well, God, how the hell did I synchronize that all up like that? You know, you got, you know, all these fans, and then the RGB things are not. Now, if you look on this, like I said, I've got 24 gigs in here. I actually had to compromise a little bit. You'll notice the first two slots don't have the RGB covers on them. The reason is that slot number one there would have kind of banged up against this Hyper 212, and so that wouldn't have worked out too well. So I didn't want to waste one cover in a because they come in like a kit of two, and I didn't want to waste one to put 5 in there and leave the one blank. So I thought, you know, I'm just going to leave 2 of them off. And it's, you know, that ain't too bad. Because, I mean, when you look at it directly on, you don't really notice unless, you know, somebody mentions it to you and you're actually looking close and going, oh, yeah, those two don't have it, do they? But anyways, how I got this all to synchronize up is, here, let me switch back here to my other display. And close this up and open up my web browser to Amazon. Let's see. God, I order a lot of stuff. I gotta scroll through it here and find it for you. Here we go. Here we go. What I used was the Lettuce Rainbow RGB fan and strip controller. What this does, it plugs into all these RGB cheap Chinese 6-pin kits that you get, but it adds the functionality of fan control, and it's got a right here next to the power, right here. You can plug that in, and to like any Asus Aura compatible motherboard or Gigabyte or MSI, ASRock, whatever's got like the 3-pin RGB, you can plug that in there and control it with your motherboard software. Or you can control it by plugging it into the 2-pin on the other side of the power. Let's see if we can. It's got a picture of it. I think it does. Yeah, it does. There we go. So you can see that what I'm talking about here. This little 2-pin right here will plug into like the reset button or the LED button of your case, so you can control it that way. And like I said, this goes to the AuraSync controller. And so basically what I did is I took, let me find it, here it is. This would be the connector that you'd normally get in the RGB covers for the memory, and it's just a simple 3-pin RGB controller for the remote. And you can just really imagine that as being the same header that you would have on your motherboard. Same thing, it plugs into like a Molex. But I took this and I plugged that and here into a splitter, and so I've got the splitter controlling this fan on the Hyper 212, that RGB strip here, and then the third part of the splitter, it was what would I use? A Cooler Master 3-way splitter is what I used. Then the third link of the splitter is hooked up to that, so that when I take the remote control, go back to that right here, you can see it's got the second row down, one says MB, and then on the opposite side of that says DIY. If you hit the MB, that means motherboard. That means the colors that it displays synchronize with motherboard, or basically this little pin. And so that's basically what it's doing, is it's letting this little controller handle all the colors, which is pretty nice. And like I said, this controller here has got, if you look up on top, fan minus, fan plus, so you can control the fan speed in it. Of course, the brightness and things like that. But it's a lot nicer controller than the default one that you get with some of these cheap Chinese kits. But I'm kind of babbling there a little bit about my RGB. I'm trying to get all kinds of stuff in here. I'm trying to talk about the motherboard, the case, and the RGB all at once. Back to the motherboard, I guess. This board is actually a little limited, I guess, compared to like some of today's technology. So I had to put a couple fixes in for it. One of those, if we look on the back here, up here, the USB 3.0, that's actually up on top too. I put a little PCI card in there to get the USB 3.0 working. And then of course, right down here is a Wi-Fi card that I put into the PCI slot. That's kind of a way to modernize it a little bit, and then actually make some use of those slots. I'm sure a lot of people are bad. I mean, if you got like a full size ATX motherboard that's got like 2 or 3 M.2s on it, plus the 4 drives there, you can get a fairly decent amount of storage in this thing. And, you know, like I said, I was able to stuff everything in there and still close the back. So this is an all right case, man. You know, I mean, you might want to consider it. You know, I mean, maybe you've never heard of Sama, maybe you have, but it's a pretty decent case. But I think I'm going to wrap this one up. I think I'm going to go play some video games or something. I might have to mow the lawn too. That's getting up there a little bit. It's getting a little chilly outside, you know, fall's coming up. So this hopefully will be the last mow of the year. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. It looks a little cloudy out there. I don't know. Maybe I get it done before it rains. But I'm babbling here. I will see you all later, and I will see you in the next Xeon build that should be coming up here, hopefully, unless it's going to be another build. I don't know what's on the schedule. I just got some office stuff to work on, and I don't do videos on those because that's, you know, really boring. But all right, I will talk to you all later, and I will see you in the next build. Bye, guys.